wrestling fans. It is Monday, October 21st, and the conclusion of Monday Night Raw has just happened. And once again, we are back here on Mega Powers Radio with the Monday Night Raw post-show, where we have fellas from all different areas we have on this shows and such come together to give our thoughts about this evening's broadcast. I'm Mike Paden, lead host of Keeping Kayfabe, your lead host of this show, and various other things we do around here. Joining me this evening, first off, we have the lead host of Smack Talk from SmarkOutMoment.com and the president of FanboysAnonymous.com, Mr. Tony Mango. What's shaking, Tony?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I just cut out there.
Did you?
Yeah, wow, that was really weird.
Maybe you were cutting out all along and it wasn't Steven.
Yeah, it's calmer, bitch.
I don't know. I heard you starting to introduce me, though, so hey, everybody.
Hey, Tony. Also joining us this evening, one of the hosts of Otaku Nation here on Mega Powers Radio and also the host of Unanimous Decision MMA over on the Dream Elite Radio brand, Mr. Steven Wago. What's shaking, Steven?
I'm good. I actually enjoyed Raw this evening, so you're going to get the happy version of me.
Really? Oh, that's going to be interesting to hear then. Also joining us this evening, lead host of the I Got Gameplay from Saturdays here on Mega Powers Radio. Also the leader of the Nerd Genius Nation, Mr. Michael Burhan. What's shaking, Burhan? How you doing with that mic?
Nothing much. I'm actually calling you from my phone at the moment because the mic had a bit of a problem. I'm all good. How is everybody on the show today?
Absolutely tremendous so far. It sounds like everyone's pretty on board. Let me not forget to introduce the last fellow we got here with us, Mr. Paul Hibbard, pretty regular here on the Monday Night Raw post show. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Mike. And I have to agree with Steven. This Raw was not shit like the other two.
Love it.
Maybe it just seems better because of how bad Bound for Glory is, but enough about TNA.
That could have been it. I didn't realize how bad it was until I actually saw those photos of the crowd and how empty it was. Oh, poor TNA.
Just imagine how tough it must be. Because I remember noticing the crowd was pretty much dead, and now it makes total sense why. Imagine sitting there and just having that in your vision as all this stuff is going on, how disheartening that is.
We didn't think of it like that. We didn't think of it like that because all we were shown was the crowd that was populated.
They must know how much they're drawing. Can't they just go to a smaller venue?
WWE did that once.
Yeah. I think it's because Dixie Carter's running the company. Fuck you, Dixie. And,
Wait, Michael, are you saying you don't want to take a ride on the Dixie train?
No, I would want to slap her with my penis in the act of vengeance.
Oh my God!
That's like the same thing. That's the same thing.
No, because that's in vengeance. It's vengeance penis.
Yeah, guys. All right. So just want to let everyone know, if you want to talk to us at any point this evening about what happened on this night's Monday Night Raw, or maybe even want to throw some opinions out there about TNA's Bound for Bankruptcy pay-per-view last night, you could do so with the phone number, area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. You can also join us via Skype by going to the broadcast page, clicking the little Skype icon right above the player, and that'll dial you in. So you can join us here on the Monday Night Raw post show here on Mega Powers Radio. Guys, some of you said you liked it. I was kind of tuning in and out, so I'm really not even sure where to start on this whole Raw thing. So why don't we just start towards the beginning? We had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in the ring. Eventually, Big Show ends up taking over the feed on the Titantron. Do this whole thing. Stephanie does this countdown, shuts him down, and I'm not really sure what the end result of this whole thing was. I actually passed by this segment. Perhaps someone who watched it can clue me in. Tony?
Well, Big Show is apparently like the best hacker in WWE. He can get through the feeds and everybody will go nuts. He can't really accomplish anything when he shows up live, apparently, according to the end of the show, but he can hack the thing and appear live via satellite and just bitch and complain for a little bit. Really, there's not much that was missed.
He probably just went in the production truck with his gun.
Maybe.
He's a member of Anonymous.
No. We're talking about this like this has never happened before. I mean, people have quote-unquote hacked the satellite feed or hacked the show feed multiple times, and this is just another instance of WWE using another one of its gimmicks. I mean, it's really not a big deal.
Well, at least they actually went out the way to explain it this time to some degree, where, we might still have friends in the production and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, but we're acting like this has never happened.
I'm just not behind the whole Big Show being the guy to take down Stephanie and Triple H. It makes no sense storyline-wise. In a sense of character development, it makes no sense. They first were putting Daniel Bryan as the company guy and the guy to rally behind, but now the Big Show is in that position. It kind of sours the whole main event.
Even outside of that, I just don't understand what the desired result of this segment was. Like, what did this build? What did this make people want to see?
Well, they're obviously going towards a Triple H versus Big Show match eventually, and I'm guessing they're just continuing to lay down the foundations. However, after tonight, we'll get into it later, it would seem that they're pushing for Triple H and Daniel Bryan, so I'm a little confused unless something's happening at Survivor Series.
Well,
I am too.
In the main part, it's just anti-establishment. It's anti-government. Like, the whole thing that's going on in the country right now is the government shut down, and people want to fight against the establishment. That's what people like to see. You know, whether Triple H wants to get back in the ring or not, I mean, obviously he does, because he's not ready to become a big corporate guy. We all know that.
It just doesn't make sense, because they've been doing loads of swerve turns at the moment. There's the swerving 1 minute Big Show's on their side because he's the machine and his house is a borderline repossession. And he was
never on their side.
Yeah, that's
true.
He
never wanted to do any of that. He never wanted to do any of that.
Yeah, but the thing is, the rules of the dynamic here haven't changed. Why is Big Show turned against him? Now he's bound for bankruptcy like TNA. And he's in this position now where he's like, he doesn't give a shit. And it's not been explained properly, and that's one of the issues with the current storyline going on, is they don't explain things properly. They're just doing things off the cuff. That it gets kind of frustrating.
And if he got fired, I want to know, how can he afford a truck?
Exactly.
Probably
I'm pretty
and a gun.
You know what? I'm pretty sure Steven explained this. It's almost exactly like the Nexus storyline where they fired John Cena.
Yeah, but it doesn't. The thing is that at least the Nexus storyline, Boyd Barrett was given the power to do that. So that makes more sense. Whereas with this, it doesn't. None of it's been explained, and because none of it's been explained,
so Triple H isn't given the power to fire anybody.
It's not that. It's more the sense of Big Show 1 minute was,
I understand what Burhan's
panicking over his home.
Yeah, and then the next minute he's all on the offensive.
He doesn't give a shit. Yeah, he's like, if I was his wife, I would be pissed. You know, we're going bankruptcy. You're on borderline divorce.
I think what comes into it is how far can you push a man until he finally snaps and fights back, and I think that's what this whole storyline's about. And whilst it may have not been explained in the best ways, I think the story they're telling is pretty accurate. I mean, everyone's got their breaking point, and that was Big Show's.
Yeah, but I'm worried.
Was the pay-per-view breaking point?
Is that still around?
Well, I think that stopped that first time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they only had that 1 year.
Then Triple H was on the cover for it too. So.
You know, I would not be surprised to see Big Show rip open the Hell in the Cell and destroy somebody.
I'm hoping we don't
get
another fuck finish.
Oh God, no! We need a fucking champion. There needs to be a champion.
I think, in my opinion, going on at the moment, they've swerved people too much. They've elongated this feud between Bryan and Orton too much. That there needs to be definitive characters here. It's like if Stephanie and Triple H finally are sort of taking the heel role now, their establishment seems to be more heel-like, which is great. But I don't see the reason why Big Show should be the focal point, because the focal point really should have been Daniel Bryan. He's hot, he sells merchandise, and he's the guy that originally kicked all this thing off.
Michael, you are so wrong. R-Truth sells merchandise. R-Truth is the one who sells merchandise.
Let's not talk about Little Jimmy, okay? R-Truth sells condoms and merchandise.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had to bring it up.
All right, guys. Keeping on topic with Daniel Bryan, he had a match with Dean Ambrose tonight. Apparently, it was a very good match. I did not get to catch this one, but you guys were talking it up earlier. So, Tony, why don't you tell me a little bit about it? Tony,
what was it? I lost you again.
Daniel Bryan versus Dean Ambrose.
I didn't think it was really that fantastic, actually.
Oh.
I'm not opposed to it. I liked it when these two get into the ring together, but it wasn't anything that I'm really going to be remembering by tomorrow. There's no classic match. It wasn't as good as like the tag team match that we saw end Raw last week or anything like that. It was just another match.
Oh, what about Burhan? What did you think about that match?
It's just another classic wrestling match between the two, but it's been done before, and it's one of those things where if you look at the Ambrose and Bryan, they work well together, they gel together, but in the same sense, it's been done to death. They don't really need to keep pushing that match down our throats. Maybe give it a little bit of time, have Bryan face somebody else that these guys have got in their pocket, you know. They've got a boatload of heels in the back that they could have easily put in this position, but they threw him at Ambrose again.
Steve, were you a bigger fan of this?
I enjoyed the match. Don't get me wrong, when I said it's a solid match, I just mean that. It's a solid. It's nothing that I'm going to go out my way to rewatch again. I enjoyed the match. It was an entertaining television match and better than the majority of the TV matches we get from a weekly Raw. So it kept me entertained throughout the whole bit. Daniel Bryan comes out looking strong. Dean Ambrose got all his stuff in. It was just a really solid TV match and it kept me entertained.
Well, how'd you feel about that one then?
I thought it was a very good match. Like everybody said, they work well together. I think if you wanted a match between Dean Ambrose and somebody, it would have been somebody who would have, you know, tried to go for the United States title just because, you know, that's what they're trying to go for now. The Big Show knocked out the Shield, and the Rhodes brothers gained the tag team titles. I think you kind of want to keep on that road. I know it's very predictable, but it'll sell. But they're both very good athletes, and I thought this was a pretty good match.
Well, from there, it took a little bit of a dip down. We had a match between Santino Marella and Heath Slater. Now, Raw took place in Memphis, Tennessee, the FedEx Forum, right on Beale Street. Lots of history in Memphis. Specifically, the biggest star from there is probably, of course, Elvis Presley, and they paid their tribute to him in this match. Santino Marella came out in the white jumpsuit. He had the hairpiece on to make himself look like Elvis. Hornswoggle even came out with the sideburns and the little perm in his hair. And, of course, at some point in the match, he pulled out a cobra that even had the hair on it. Santino Marella gets the win. After the match, though, he gets a mic and he says, hey, there's only one real king from Memphis, and that's Jerry Lawler. Crap.
The real king is Andy Kaufman.
You know, Jerry Lawler could have done that whole thing himself. They didn't need all six of those guys. They didn't need the reincarnation of the honky-tonk men. It was like Halloween. It was like seeing an ugly honky-tonk man rise from the grave and try and invade the ring. It was horrible. Just put it away.
Honky-tonk man.
People tell me that all the time.
Anyone else have anything they have to say about that?
This is 2 points at Raw, which I didn't enjoy, and this is one of them. Luckily, it wasn't on too long, though longer than it needed to be. I don't know if the whole point of this was just to show Jerry the King Lawler a bit of love being in Memphis, but they could have done it some other way. So fuck this match.
And its couch.
Yeah, and its couch.
Fuck your couch, nigga.
This is the type of thing that I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to WWE, where I get that they're just trying to have a little bit of fun here and they don't want to just have straight-up wrestling matches and feuds and all that. And, of course, they're going to throw Santino and Kali and Hornswoggle out there with 3MB, of course, the big jobber joke kind of characters that they have, because you don't want to do it with somebody who actually, you know, means something. If they had Goldust and Cody Rhodes come out and do this, it would have looked absolutely that much more worse.
Well, I mean, you could put the Real Americans in that position too, because if it was the Real Americans, it would have looked extra bad.
But like in general, this is the type of thing that I never really like. I don't find them funny. I actually personally hate the whole Elvis thing. I don't think Elvis is entertaining.
What?
Yeah, I hate
what?
the whole...
Mango, we are no longer friends.
Actually, I agree with Mango.
Okay, no. Mango, are you talking about the Honky Tonk Man too?
I think Honky Tonk Man was a worthwhile character at the time.
Okay, then that's fine. That's fine. You can hate Elvis all you want.
No. He made me cry.
But in general, when WWE does this kind of stuff, whether it's the Hornswoggle Court thing or you're in a certain town and it's known for something and you end up going with this gimmick that goes along with it, I usually don't find it funny.
WWE is best doing comedy when it genuinely comes from a wrestler's personality or character, not when it's this forced garbage, and I definitely agree with Mango.
Right.
Now, on that perspective, I do agree, apart from him hating Elvis. Shame on you, Mango.
Screw Elvis.
Yeah, screw Elvis.
You are
okay, Mango, you are from America, and you don't like Elvis, for God's sake.
Have you been to Memphis? I think you need to go to Memphis.
You need
I think you do too.
You need to see Graceland. See how this guy lived.
I saw 3,000 miles to Graceland. That was enough.
No,
I know how he lived. He died on the shitter.
Wait, did you see? No. Did you see Bubba Hotep? It's old man
Bubba
Elvis
Hotep.
who fights zombies with old man JFK.
Bubba Hotep. Yes, Bubba Hotep.
All right, so we had a match between Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton. Decent match, ends, of course, with an RKO out of nowhere. Poor Dolph Ziggler still can't catch a break, just being fodder for the main eventer, Randy Orton. Guys, can Dolph Ziggler rebound from this, or is this just where this guy is going to be sticking for the rest of his career?
Oh, he'll get another world title run and then end up doing the same thing again.
Yep.
It's ridiculous what they're doing to him at the moment. I think he has an oodles of talent, and they just seem to keep messing with him.
I don't think he's got it, though. I think he's in the same boat as some of the wrestlers we found in the past, where they're fantastic workers, but they don't have anything else but that.
I gotta say, the crowd got behind him on a number of pin attempts he had between the Famouser and the super kick that he got.
I'm sorry. I have to disagree with Steven. If you can rise from Nikki, from the Spirit Squad, to a world heavyweight champion, you have it.
Multiple times.
You have it. Okay, even if the first time was kind of marred in controversy, quote unquote, you have it. This guy has proved that he is one of the best sellers in the world.
Okay,
in the world.
Being a seller doesn't make you a world champion superstar. It doesn't make you like the it guy.
Apparently it does for Dolph Ziggler.
It did for Shawn Michaels.
It did for Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels had the whole package. Dolph Ziggler can't talk unless he does
Whoa. I don't want to know what we're looking at in those Playgirl issues, okay?
Dolph Ziggler can talk as well as the best of them.
Yeah, he does that really awkward thing where he talks really fast and everyone just looks at him confused.
No. You're totally missing his whole Vicky Guerrero awkward face, where Vicky Guerrero would yell and then Dolph Ziggler would talk and save the whole spot.
Let's be honest.
He still did that thing on his babyface run too. He's just not got it. He's just a guy that's really good at working and makes other guys look good.
Oh, Tony, what were you going to say?
Let's be honest. The only thing that's holding Dolph Ziggler back from being the person who they throw the World Heavyweight Championship on whenever they need somebody to hold the title is Alberto Del Rio happens to be the only Hispanic person that they think that they can put in that spot. If Dolph Ziggler was Hispanic, and this isn't anything about like Hispanic things, it's just about their mentality right now. If he was some kind of other ethnicity to make him separate from everybody else, they would be throwing the World Heavyweight title on him right now.
Now, I have a question I have to ask, and I hate to have to delve into this, but why is the Hispanic market such a sought-after? Why aren't they looking to get an Asian star or perhaps even an African-American star that they really never truly pushed as a huge guy unless you count The Rock?
Well, it's the same thing that UFC's trying to do with Cain Velasquez. They're trying to make a star so they can break into other territories and get the money from there. I mean, there's a huge Hispanic crowd within the United States, and when they go over to these other markets like Mexico and other Spanish cultures, they can use these guys to make more money. It's just simple. It's only like how UFC is trying to do when they bring in Cain Velasquez, or they tried, or what they did with all the Brazilian stars, or what they were trying to do with Akiyama for a while in Japan. It's just WWE trying to break into new markets, and ever since Rey Mysterio's been injured, they need a new guy. They need to find that next Hispanic star. Even if they have one, it's better. One that's over, it's better than just having a bunch of minor guys. So I can see what they're doing.
But what's better about those territories rather than, of course, the hot Japanese territory? Why aren't they looking for a huge Japanese star to get them into
Well,
that?
apparently they are looking. They should have a guy for every territory.
Well, I mean, the whole wrestling business is based on racism. We have Big E Langston getting a big push now because he's a good black guy. We have Rey Mysterio coming back only when they go to their Mexico tour. And then we have, I forget.
Well, I got two things that I can kind of weigh in with that. First off, I don't think that Big E's getting a push because he's black. I think he's getting a push because he's big and because he's actually entertaining.
He's getting a push because he's black and he's good. And right now, R-Truth's not doing the job because he's also black and he's good. I mean,
R-Truth is doing all the jobs.
It all comes down. If you want to push somebody who's of a different color, it's all coming down to race. If you're in wrestling, I mean, people don't get that. They don't understand that. Race matters.
The other point that I was going to bring up in regards to why they're going for a Hispanic star instead, Steven touched upon this. It's mostly the locality, that situation that we have with the United States itself. If you look at what's going on in the United States right now, you see things predominantly written in English, but if you see it in any other language, you're more typically going to see it in Spanish, not in any of the European, Asian, other languages that we have out there. It's almost entirely English and Hispanic. We have, our English television stations, and then we have whole entire channels dedicated to
Telemundo.
Yeah, Telemundo and stuff, but we don't really have, you cycle through your Comcast or your DirecTV or whatever you have, and how many stations that speak Mandarin are there out there compared to Hispanic. So it's got to be this idea that the Hispanic culture is bigger in the United States, so they think that if they target the Hispanic culture in the United States, and then they can get crossover with Mexico, that's a little bit closer to us and everything, that they can succeed there where Rey Mysterio's succeeded in the past. But I think in the regards to Dolph Ziggler, if he is somebody who they can depend on to do that kind of stuff in the ring, but they can't get that one it factor for him outside of it, I think that the whole big problem with this is Del Rio. That spot that Del Rio's been taking up this whole time could have been passed around with Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Ryback, and all that, but they're so stuck on Del Rio that they're ignoring all of these other guys. And
it's not that. It's not that. How many months between The Longest Yard and the Great Khali appearing in WWE was he World Heavyweight Champ? Like seriously, come on, think about that. He is the biggest, most foreign guy that you can come across, and he becomes the World Heavyweight Champ just after he's in a hit movie. Just think about that.
No. Khali was given the title because he was their last option.
No. He was given the title because he was famous at the time.
No, he wasn't. He was in the WWE after he was famous. After The Longest Yard debuted, he came to the WWE. But they didn't. He never got the World Championship until after Batista was injured, after Kurt Angle was injured. When they didn't have anyone to occupy that World Heavyweight Championship spot.
For what it's worth, Khali is actually.
Kurt Angle wasn't injured.
He was injured.
He had enough of WWE.
He was injured.
He had enough of that fucking place. There's only one reason you go to TNA is because you have enough of WWE.
No, you go to TNA because your career's dead.
Yeah, because WWE made it dead.
For what it's worth, Khali is actually one of those guys that do break into a demographic, and that's India. For those who don't know, he's like fucking huge over there, not just in size.
Well, I know.
Yeah. You know what's funny? He owns a wrestling school in India.
I know, and he barely knows how to wrestle. He doesn't even know how to run the ropes. How the hell is he going to teach people how to wrestle?
And I think that going back on something, I think the reason Alberto Del Rio's been kept in that spot as well is because for a while, as he was Dos Caras Jr. back in Mexico, he was considered a huge name over there, and he still has appeal over there. When he goes over there, they do chant his old name, as they do with Sin Cara as Mystico. So there is value in Alberto Del Rio, but I think they can build a bigger star than him.
And the thing about Del Rio as well is that he's extremely bland in the ring. He has no character. I think once they took away everything that made his character relevant in terms of him being better than everybody else, his whole cars and money thing, and they tried to turn him into a heel that thinks he's the main thing behind Mexico. It doesn't work, and the reason why it's not working is because the character's irrelevant now. There's not really much to do with Del Rio. If they want to make him relevant again, my opinion is to try and give him big feuds, and they're trying that now with Cena. I've got a funny feeling that they're going to take the title off him and put it on Cena to give it more relevance. If they do, hopefully it'll make Sandow's win a bit more relevant in terms of him beating Del Rio. I don't even know what they're doing with Sandow at the moment.
Apparently he's getting a face turn, but that could just be dirt sheet bullshit.
Well, I think they're just...
He actually did sort of a face turn on SmackDown 2 weeks ago.
I don't watch SmackDown, so I can't really comment on that.
That's where Big E had his face turn, too.
It doesn't make sense, though.
They just don't care because they want to rob us of 3 months of non-Cena. Because they can't survive without
Guys, actually, I'm glad we're talking about John Cena, because next thing I wanted to talk about is throughout this night we had a number of video packages airing about John Cena's return. One I really liked is they had this video diary showing little clips of him each day after his surgery, giving little updates saying, "Oh, I'm not allowed to do anything yet. I can't even sweat because of the stitches are still in." Then he's saying, "I'm not supposed to be working out, but I'm going to start doing some little things." And you see him starting to lift the weights when he still has the bandages on. I thought it was really cool stuff, and honestly, I'm kind of excited for John Cena to come back. I'm actually curious: is John Cena going to get a really warm response at Hell in a Cell to the point where they actually pop tremendously if and when he takes that title from Alberto Del Rio?
No, he's not going to get a warmful response because half of the fans hate him. I mean, it's already been
all the fans hate Alberto Del Rio, though.
Well, yeah, but half of the fans hate John Cena enough to ignore that.
The thing that the main issue here is Cena being involved in any angle, because what people are worried about at the moment is that Cena may take the heat away from Daniel Bryan, and that's what they don't want.
I think he'll get a better reception than he's been used to getting.
I think it will be the biggest surprise reaction for him since the 2008 Royal Rumble when he returned.
Nowhere near that much, though.
I'm not saying it's going to be on the same level, but I think it's probably going to be the second most surprising response he's going to have. I'm
going to disagree. I think he hasn't been gone long enough to the point where anyone's really going to have given that much of a crap. For the time he's been gone away, we've still heard plenty about him. It's not like he's been gone for the most part.
Did we?
But yeah. if it happens, then somebody's going to get a bigger push than Daniel Bryan.
What?
Yes, I mean, come on. Somebody's going to get a bigger push than Daniel Bryan.
I think that's a big mistake if they do that, in my opinion.
Yes, it's a mistake, but I'm not saying that it's not going to happen.
But I think as far as John Cena coming back, I think he's going to get a warm reception like he does every time that he comes back. And then he's just going to get the same reaction that he used to.
I know I'll be cheering for him.
I will be over Del Rio.
Yeah, same
I'll
here.
be rooting for him to beat him in a 5-second match and injure Del Rio in the process.
I'm cheering for him to tear his tricep again.
Now, early predictions, if John Cena does win, do we see him play the injury into play and have that be an excuse for Sandow to come out and cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase?
I see him just tearing his tricep, and that's all. He can tear his tricep and be in pain all he wants. I don't care what happens after.
You mean like you really want him to tear his tricep again? And
Oh, yes, of course, yes. Oh, yes. I don't give a shit what happens after. But
with me, I just see it as a way of... Cena's going to come back. Cena's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship, and there's not going to be any. I don't see any negatives in this. I think if anyone should carry that title for a while, it should be him, because of the fact that he will give the title some relevancy that it hasn't had being on Del Rio's shoulders or anybody else's. It hasn't probably had any proper relevancy since 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, that title lost relevancy ever since Edge dropped it. And to be quite honest, at this point, I would like just to have it unified. And I think the best platform to do that is at Survivor Series between him and Daniel Bryan.
No, that's the worst thing they could do, because the problem is that guys like Ziggler, who are never going to get the WWE Championship, they need that World Heavyweight title around. They just need to manage it better.
The title doesn't make the guy, so if he's not...
Yeah, but the thing is, you've got guys who are in that spot, and they're not going to give him that opportunity. And the one good thing about having the World Heavyweight title around is it gives people that opportunity who otherwise won't. So
Well, it's as relevant as the Intercontinental title, so you just build the IC title up. There's no point in just having a world title for the sake of being able to call a guy a world champion. It does nothing for them. At the end of the day, Dolph Ziggler was a world champion once. No one still gives a shit. So what does it really accomplish?
It's just confusing when you have an outsider there, and it's like, oh, that guy's the world champion. So it's like, oh, so he's the top guy. It's like, well, no, that's the WWE champion.
Exactly. Well, it does nothing for their career. It does as much as the IC title does.
I disagree, because
it's a world title in name and name only.
Well, you look at guys like Sheamus, who basically ended up in a situation where he had the WWE Championship, it didn't work out, so they gave him the world title. Right. The same goes for someone like Orton, who wasn't sort of WWE title material. They gave him the world title. That's the focus that they need to give.
The world title was considered the big belt at the time, back when he first won it, though.
No, when Sheamus won it, it wasn't.
But you mentioned Orton too.
Yeah, but Orton, he's won it so many times that it doesn't. When he won it the final few times, it never had any relevancy to it. But he still held on to that championship because they wanted to maintain some focus on him being a top guy. So they do give it to guys that they think will be top guys. Without Daniel Bryan holding that World Heavyweight Championship, I doubt they would have given him a WWE title win at all.
So I'm sorry, Sheamus deserves to be ECW, WCW, and WWE.
Well, WCW, because the World Heavyweight title is not even considered WCW title. It holds lineage there.
No. That is a gross misconstrued fact that the World Heavyweight Championship isn't the WCW Championship. I'm sorry.
It's only by look only. It's perceived as that, but it doesn't hold the lineage. It doesn't hold the lineage.
No.
All right.
By look,
the WWE have stated it.
All right.
That is the WCW Championship.
Guys, dial it back a second here. Let's move on to something a little less intense. Let's talk about tonight's Divas match. And this ended up being a tag match featuring AJ Lee and her latest bodyguard, Tamina, taking on the Bella Twins. Nikki Bella finally cleared again for competition. And we were told at the beginning of this that Brie Bella has earned herself #1 contendership once again for the Divas title at Hell in a Cell. So we're going to be seeing AJ Lee and Brie Bella in a matchup once again. I can't say I'm horribly disappointed by this. Like I could enjoy another match between these two, and perhaps finally we'll see Brie Bella take that belt off her. But who knows? I'm not sure what they're doing with AJ Lee right now. But we'll go around and get your guys' thoughts on this. Paul, why don't you start us off with it?
I actually thought this match was pretty good. It was definitely better than the Santino match. I was really surprised to see Nikki wrestle because she had a very serious shin injury. But kudos to her for wrestling, and I thought this Divas match was a whole lot better than a lot of the stuff that happened tonight.
Steven, how about you, man? Did you have any special thoughts about this Divas match?
This was one of the second low point that I was referring to during the evening. But as I said, I actually enjoyed this Raw. But damn it, Burhan. I actually enjoyed this Raw, but this, along with the Santino match, was the low point for me on Raw.
Tony, does Divas match strike you in any way special, or how about the upcoming Hell in a Cell matchup?
I actually was kind of hoping that we would have had a tag match at Hell in a Cell, and that's mostly because I think that they could have stretched this out a little bit longer and had Brie against AJ at Survivor Series. Now, I don't know if they have another plan in mind where they're going to have maybe an elimination match. They've done that before with the Divas. They could have, AJ and Tamina and Oksana and Alicia and who the hell would be another one? Rosa, I think. They could have the 5 of them against the Bella Twins and the Funkadactyls and somebody else. Caitlyn. There you go. They could just do that. But if they don't do that, I think that they should have just gone with that tag match. Nikki Bella isn't, going to sell a whole bunch of pay-per-views or anything like that, but having her wrestle her first match back, they could have built a little bit something in that. It'd be kind of like, well, Tamina and AJ have their thing, but now the Bella Twins are back in formation, and we're going to fight you at Hell in a Cell. And hell, maybe even because of the fact that Brie didn't win the last match, really, maybe make that for if they win the tag match, then Brie gets another shot at the title. But either way, they're going with the match itself, and I'm fine with it. I don't know if I really want to have Brie as the champion right now, but I think that this feud has some legs to it.
A quick question based off that. What is actually happening with Caitlyn? Is she still on SmackDown or another show, or is she just phased out of the company right now?
I think her 15 minutes are up.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with Tony as far as I don't have much interest or investment in the women's division, but he's pretty much hit the nail on the head with his explanation of it.
Bryan, you have anything you want to add?
Not really. It's a Divas match.
So we go to a backstage segment, first off with Miss Renee Young, quickly becoming one of my favorite backstage announcers of all time, introducing a replay of this past Friday's SmackDown, where we saw Big E Langston finally turning face, coming to the aid of CM Punk after the attack by Ryback and Curtis Axel. After that, we see Paul Heyman and his crew approach, and Renee asks Paul Heyman about what he's going to do at Hell in a Cell. Paul Heyman goes absolutely nuts, making all these metaphors about volcanoes and screaming while looking off into the distance. Eventually, Big E Langston approaches. Curtis Axel challenges him to a match, and we end up having that match later on in the evening, and absolutely wild turn of events in that match. Doesn't even actually get to begin. Big E Langston ends up tackling down Curtis Axel. Ryback comes into the match. The two of them try to put the beat down on Big E until CM Punk comes to the aid this time. We end up having a tag match. Big E gets the pin on Curtis Axel after the body splash. Whatever. Good to finally see Big E Langston as a babyface. Someone else being involved in a storyline that's not the corporation-type storyline that we have going on right now. So I see good things out of this whole thing for everybody. Well, what does everyone else go for it? Steven?
I'm sorry, I had a bit of tech issues there. We're talking about Big E's match and the tag match?
Yeah, we're talking about the backstage thing with Paul Heyman and the matchup with Paul.
Okay, well, stemming from the Paul Heyman promo, which I thought was fucking awesome. It doesn't matter what type of promo that guy delivers. He just makes you so invested and captivated in the show at the time, and I really enjoyed it. This is actually probably the best talking I've seen Big E do. I know he cut that promo once where he interviewed Dolph Ziggler, and it was fucking terrible in the past. So this is the best I've seen out of him. And as far as the match goes, the initial match, which was Curtis Axel versus Big E, was so-so. But when the Dickie came out and took Theodore Long's place tonight and made it a tag match, it was a lot of fun, especially when they gave Big E the hot tag and he came in with that babyface fire. He moves faster than Los Matadores did, and it fucking just goes to show how bad the Los Matadores are when a big guy like that gets you so much more invested in a babyface fire. So I really enjoyed the storyline that was telling from top to bottom. And I'd love for Big E to go into Hell in a Cell and beat Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental Championship, because to be quite honest, any investment I had in that guy has gone out the window.
Paul, what did you think about the whole thing tonight with Mr. Paul Heyman and Big E Langston turning face?
I thought it was pretty good. I loved Big E turning face and, asserting his power. I loved the turn on Curtis Axel and Ryback, with Paul Heyman thinking, this Biggie Langston is nothing, and he knows a whole lot better. Biggie Langston is a something, and they should have done this face turn a while ago.
Steven, you got anything you want to talk about Mr. Paul? I already went to you. Sorry, Tony.
Well, quick little outline format. Biggie Langston turning babyface, about time. He's too entertaining as a babyface to not be a babyface. When he was a heel cutting promos about why he's not doing backstage fallout because he's got a sausage on his plate and he's going to eat it, like that kind of stuff, you got to do that as a babyface more than a heel. But I agree with Steven. I kind of want him to just flat out win the Intercontinental Championship, and we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Paul Heyman's promo, that was freaking great. He just kind of blew this out of the water to the point where it became so ludicrous that it became funny, and then it became obviously like serious in a way, and I don't know, it was something different. And when the Paul Heyman and CM Punk feud has been on such a stale ride lately that they've just really been repeating themselves over and over and over again, and nothing's been interesting, that was like this Hail Mary attempt to bring some life back into this feud. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work. I'm actually not that excited in the match itself, but hey, it was worth a shot.
I got a question. Do you think they'll actually finish the feud at Hell in a Cell, or do you think it drags out to Survivor Series?
They better frigging end it now. If they drag it out to Survivor Series, they might as well have CM Punk come out and just go, look, guys, I'm going to cut another promo that's like a pipe bomb kind of thing. They have no idea what they're going to do for me, so we're just going to have another match at Survivor Series. And
well, I could see them getting put in this whole establishment versus the guys in the back storyline, and then dragging it out to the next pay-per-view and finally ending it. I hope they don't. But, yeah, I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on that.
No. No. So let's move on. We got another video package this night of Daniel Bryan about how he was trained by Shawn Michaels. Saw some really cool footage of Daniel Bryan in his younger days, of him wearing track pants, which looked hilarious. Really young pictures of him and a group of guys with you see Shawn Michaels in the front and poor Daniel Bryan trying to poke his head up from the back. A little sneeze came there. Apologies, guys. So what did you guys think about this, Steven?
I'm sorry, what?
The video package with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah.
When he was trained by Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool that they showed him like doing a move in the ring, like in the Indies, and then doing the same move in his current WWE set. It's almost like he's progressed his moveset into. It just kind of told a story about how he's this raw, talented athlete that uses the same stuff in WWE now. It's almost like he's been the best since day one type thing. It was kind of cool. And it was, I'm not sure what promotion that was in that they were showing him. Any guys got any idea? Definitely wasn't Ring of Honor.
I imagine it was probably like the local Texas shows that Shawn Michaels, well, not Shawn Michaels himself, but, his training school got him on.
They had more than 5 people in the crowd, so I'm sure it wasn't TNA.
Got him.
It's funny because TNA is shit. Yeah, I really enjoyed this stuff, and I'm glad that they're acknowledging that fact that he's trained by Shawn Michaels more than they have in the past, and I think it's I think it's cool that Daniel can get the rub off Shawn.
Paul?
We lose Paul?
Hello?
Paul has left the building.
All right, Tony?
I actually really like that, too. I mean, I liked the John Cena ones a little bit better, but I did like the Daniel Bryan one. And I think that he needs to go back to the way that he used to look like 10 years ago, wherever it was, because I'm not a big fan of the whole savage guy just popped out of being in hiding for a bunch of years or pulled out of a POW camp or something like that. I think once you get this authority storyline, he should shave that beard off, he'd cut his hair, and kind of look like a young guy again, because one of the things that makes him kind of interesting as the underdog is something that Michael Cole, I think is what it was, it might have been JBL, but somebody said talking about Daniel Bryan, that like there's a lot going on with this kid. Pretty sure it was Michael Cole who called him a kid, and he doesn't really look like a kid. I mean, he is in his 30s, but
Jim Ross would say that about you if you're fucking 40.
Right, but if you make him look a little bit younger, it does play up a little bit more to the possible inexperience factor and the underdog kind of thing. That babyface look to him, you'd feel a little bit more sad if he got his ass beaten by somebody else. And
he's actually got a good look when he's clean look, so I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I think that they need to keep that in mind for the future. But I like this. You play up the Shawn Michaels thing as much as you can because it'll build more interest in the Hell in a Cell match itself. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done anything with Triple H and Randy Orton and the whole Evolution thing yet to counterbalance it.
Paul, you back with us, dude? Nope, Paul's still gone. All right, so next thing we have a new salesman for WWE. It's R-Truth. Hey, he did a little bit of a rap-type sales talking about WWEshop.com. Interesting choice, I suppose. I think it could work out. Good spot for R-Truth. I mean, if it gets him on TV every week and he's not going to be being pinned, I think he's an entertaining guy, and I think he can convince the people to make some purchases. So what do you guys think about that, Tony?
I think if you're going to make this like a regular thing, you need to throw in a joke there of other people doing it, and you need Dolph Ziggler to come out and be like, nobody sells better than I do. But I thought that this was, let's just say, I thought this was entertaining to say the least. I'm not the biggest R-Truth fan. I don't think that he's somebody that they can really put a lot of stock in. And I don't want this to be like his gimmick or anything. I don't want him coming out, wrestling matches, and hawking products in the process. But what the hell? For one segment, it was cool.
Better than Pretty Ricky.
Oh, God. Well, everything's better than that.
Yeah, Corey Krause made an observation I had earlier. R-Truth is the new Don West. I also make comparisons to being the new Doc Hendricks.
Was he drinking backstage?
Steven, how do you enjoy R-Truth as our new salesman?
I like it, though I think they need to expand the gimmick where he starts stealing merchandise and takes on a very racist gimmick of where he's just selling it at the back of his car. Then again, I think Earl Hebner has that gimmick. That's why he got fired, so maybe not. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. R-Truth is a good character. It's just he has to be, like, as far as an in-ring competitor at this point, he has to be working with the right guy. So shit, if you've got nothing else to do with him, let him do this stuff. Let him be a personality. Why not?
Next match we have is between the Real Americans going against Tons of Funk. We get a lot of replays from this past Friday's SmackDown. Interesting how that works. Friday's SmackDown is filled with Monday Night Raw replays. Now Raw is becoming filled with SmackDown replays. But we see El Torito, the little bull that is with Los Matadores, do a gore to the rear end of what the fuck is that guy's name? Zeb Coulter. Old guy with a mustache.
Still looks more vicious than Edge's spear.
Indeed. This match was nothing special. Jack Swagger wins via the ankle lock. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but when Jack Swagger got him to tap out, the lights shot up from behind him and made him look really heroic.
I didn't notice that. I'm going to have to go back and check that out.
We the people.
It was truly awesome. And, of course, after the match, Zeb Coulter pulls out a bullwhip. This is going to be his new gimmick. He's going to have a bullwhip.
I'm okay with that. I love it. I love Dutch. He's fucking awesome. And by the way, he was crazy on the commentary table tonight. He was coming out with some batshit silly stuff. I was cracking up for the whole match. So
I think everyone's getting batshit silly lately.
Yeah, including Paul. What? But yeah, I really enjoy it. The match wasn't bad. It was a pretty much average TV match. Didn't keep my attention too much, but I've seen a lot worse from both these teams competing against each other. The big swing was a bit disappointing. They normally make more of a big deal about it, but I'm loving Dutch's. I'm loving if they're going to go with this whole fucking America versus Los Matadores thing. Why not give them a bullwhip? Why not have the two managers essentially combat each other while the two tag guys go at it? I like it. It's a mid-card feud, and at least these guys are doing something.
Tony, you got any opinions about this?
One thing I thought was a little bit awkward during this match, and I didn't notice it until now, but when he used to predominantly just go under the Tensai gimmick. He used to do this sound. I don't know if I can really do it justice, but when he would hit people, he would kind of go like, like this weird freaking thing that I always laughed at.
He's German now?
I haven't heard him do it for a while, but he did it tonight. And he's sitting there giving a headbutt to, I think it was Cesaro, but now I might be remembering that wrong. And he's going like, bastard, bastard, and then doing all those fucking weird noises again. And I was just like, this does not fit this gimmick at all anymore. When you're sweet tea and you're dancing around and then you're starting to yell out whatever the hell that language is supposed to end up being, or whatever he's saying. I don't know what he's saying, but I thought that was very awkward. But
you want to see something awkward with Tensai? Did you see the Michael Cole and JBL show where he did a fucking Wrecking Ball parody?
Oh, goodness.
God, no, thank God.
So if you want Tensai awkward, you'll maybe if you watch that, you'll feel a lot better about this show.
Is he the Wrecking Ball in it?
Yes.
So
and he's naked.
In this newly growing and robusted tag team division, is Tons of Funk going to be able to stay afloat?
They're going to be the guys that people job to.
You sure they're not going to...
Sorry, they're going to be the guys doing the jobbing, I mean.
I think they've got legs. I think the only problem holding them back is WWE just isn't really big on them right now. All they need is WWE to give them a little bit of a push, kind of like what they did with the Usos. The Usos weren't really, getting huge pops the way that Daniel Bryan does when they started to go, let's give them a little bit of a shot, and now they get a better reaction than they used to. So,
I'm going to disagree, Tony. I don't think they're a guy that you want to give a push, to be quite honest. They're a comedy gimmick. You use them, you put them over guys like Free and B, and then you have them lose to tag teams like The Shield and stuff. They're just guys you're going to use to put your other teams over. I'd say don't give them a push.
I think most of the teams kind of fall into that category, though. The primetime players, they sort of lost their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, but they're guys you can use. I don't really see you being able to use they're credible tag teams you can use against guys like The Shield in the title picture. I don't think you can do that with Tons of Funk, though. I might be wrong.
What do you think, Paden?
If they kept the tag title match consistent on a pay-per-view and they did the thing where they're constantly rotating it rather than just facing the same team for 3 months, I think you could eventually decide you want to build Tons of Funk as a contender for 1 month.
I think they've got something with the Total Divas there, too. The fact that they have Cameron and Naomi featured on Total Divas, they might be able to kind of
Are you saying they should go for the tag titles?
No, not really, not to use them as a launching point, but if they can get the two of them over with the crowd a little bit more, then the two of them can get the crowd a little bit more over when it comes to Brodus and Tensai. They are supposed to be like cheerleaders, essentially, so they should be that intermediary between the crowd and Tons of Funk. So maybe they can do that, maybe not. I mean, the stars of the show Total Divas, it really is the Bella Twins overall, but you might be able to play off that a little bit.
After the Bella Twins, it's probably the two Funkadactyls. Definitely not the New Girls.
Hang on, does this mean you two watch Total Divas?
Yeah, I actually like that show.
Ugh. Then again, I can't critique it because I watched the first episode and I hated it, but I haven't watched it fully, so I'm gonna take any hatred back towards it because I can't fairly judge it.
Well, at least we're not otaku.
I don't want to be otaku.
So we get our main event matchup of the evening. It is the Shield going against the Usos in a number one contenders tag team matchup. First off, we have the Rhodes, the current tag team champions, Goldust and Cody Rhodes, coming out to sit at ringside doing guest commentary, and we got to hear a really awesome new mashup of their two theme songs. Not just any theme song, but Cody Rhodes' old 80s hair metal band style of Smoke and Mirrors, which always my favorite. Really, really dug it. Can't wait till we can find it on YouTube to enjoy it over and over. It's definitely going into my mix. Dean Ambrose ends up joining him on commentary as well. Eventually, Dean Ambrose ends up getting in Cody Rhodes' face, and an all-out brawl ensues, causing the match, I believe, to end in no contest, right? I don't think we got an actual number one contender.
I think we got one of those unofficial announcements for a triple threat match.
I'm okay with that because if it stretches out the feud in the long run, because we do need a tag feud. We don't really get them. We get the Shield will fight a tag team on this pay-per-view on the pre-show, or at the start of the event.
Yeah, let's not forget there was a point where they were going to have the Shield face Mark Henry and Big Show.
Yeah. And almost lose to them, too.
I'm fucking glad that got... Well, that was because Big Show came back late, right? That they had to get rid of that idea?
I think it was Mark Henry's injury.
There was one of the two things. But how is that where Mark is now?
Yeah, he's out for a while.
Mark pulled a hamstring.
Mark gets injured? That's fucking rare.
I actually hate that new theme song mashup. We were just talking about mashups last night, and I thought that was kind of poorly done. I didn't really hear too much in sync with it. It just every once in a while, it would just kind of go like,
yeah, it does need some work on it because it's like the guitar riff comes in over Goldust music and it sounds really fucking awkward. The lyrics are fine though.
It's a first cut. You know what? Let's not forget the first cut of Curtis Axel's theme music when he came in. It was pretty cool, but it was still a little rough. And they worked on it, and we heard like 7 or 8 different versions of it. Now they finally got what they got now, which is just absolutely awesome.
Maybe they can have as many themes as Wade Barrett does.
What I think is weird, though, is they tend to not be that good with their mashups. So remember when they did the...
Oh, that's not true at all, man. What about Jericho's and Big Show's?
That wasn't the first one, though. The first one that they had of Jericho and Big Show wasn't that good. And the first rated RKO one...
That was Corey just mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah, they just did the beginning of Edge's theme, and then it just sort of went to Randy Orton's because they must have ripped it from, like, the idiots on YouTube that do that.
Yeah.
But... I do think there's potential here. And Goldust actually is one of those themes that does work pretty well with people. I remember somebody did a version of Goldust theme with Bobby Lashley's music, and it ended up working extremely well. And
there's also a decent mix between Dusty Rhodes and Goldust Sunline. So, I'd use that instead of this one.
I think it's got a potential, but they just need to get Johnston that extra day to work on it or something. Or hell, just... You know what? That's something that they should do. They should end up doing something with their YouTube channel on WWE and go, look, we're trying to look for people to submit mashups between these two. Send it in for us.
Have you actually seen WWE? They're releasing their own mashups on YouTube these days.
Really?
Yeah. Just searched on their channel. They've got a few of them.
Huh. Oh, I haven't seen them yet.
Huh. Well, any opinions on this actual match that we got here?
It was okay.
It was all right.
It was solid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the match, to be honest. I thought it was a really good tag match. It was solid chemistry all the way through. These guys are just really good at working with each other. And the fact that I know the Usos and the Shield work well together, and the Rhodes and the Shield work together. I'm interested in seeing how a triple threat tag match dynamic could go. So I'm really looking forward to what these guys are going to do at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, as am I.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially having this triple threat dynamic. It certainly makes it a little bit more unpredictable of what the results end up going to be. But, so it's one thing we could look forward to going to Hell in a Cell, I think.
This match actually has all the elements of a really good ladder match eventually. I mean, are they still doing the TLC pay-per-view?
As far as I know, yes. Oh.
I mean, I'd love for all three teams to go at it in TLC. I think they could really do some awesome work together.
Something interesting. I don't know if you guys saw the Scoops report, but apparently the calendar that WWE put out for next year's pay-per-views, they're not doing 2 pay-per-views in October anymore.
Thank God.
They're going to do 2 pay-per-views in June.
Oh, damn it.
Fuck you, Paden.
They need to stop that.
Troll WWE.
You got my hopes up and then you dashed them. I'm now trapped in a glass case of emotion.
No. All right, guys, that brings us to our final segment of the evening, the main event segment, if you will. Contract signing between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton for their WWE title match in a cell at Hell in a Cell. It is in a cell, right? I'm not sure if they ever...
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, Daniel Bryan ends up challenging Triple H to a match at one point in this whole ordeal here, which I thought was kind of cool. He's like, oh, why don't you take off the suit and put on the tights? Triple H says, I only do that for special people, and that's not you. Great way to put it.
Yeah, he did it for you, Gene, special people.
Eventually, the Tron cuts out. We see a semi-truck entering the arena. It pulls into the staging area, and who but Big Show exits out. This distracts Orton long enough for Daniel Bryan to take him down with a running knee, and Raw goes off the air as Daniel Bryan climbs up to the top of the truck and does a yes chant with the audience.
Womp womp.
Oh, it's fun. I was really hoping the truck was actually going to drive right up to the ring and, like, butt into it like the Zamboni used to.
Big Show would fucking botch it.
It's pretty sad when Big E Langston has a better big ending to a match or a segment or anything than Big Show and this big whole contract signing and, it's going to be epic. We're going to make up for the way that Battleground sucked and really give you a reason to buy Hell in a Cell. And we're going to end it with just people coming out and being like, meh, end of the show.
I had such mixed feelings about this segment. I mean, we started off pretty strong with Sean going at it with Triple H. I thought those two, they always work well together when they're on the microphone. But Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton's back and forth seemed really fucking awkward, especially Orton throughout this whole segment. I don't know if it was just me, but he seemed almost like he was the fifth wheel. He was just like there, and no one was really paying attention to him until he spoke. I had to interrupt the promo for whatever reason.
And he kept making that creeper smile that he does, where he kind of cocks his head to the side and opens his mouth all wide.
Yeah, if he's going to do the Viper gimmick, he just needs to go full on to do the retarded faces with the bald head. And then they end it in such an anticlimactic fashion. You have Big Show coming through with a big truck, and it's funny because someone posted in one of our groups is that Stone Cold when you posted a picture of Big Show, and then he comes out all Stone Cold-like and does nothing. It was like, so the whole point is the truck...
He chanted yes.
The whole point of the truck was for Daniel Bryan to stand on it so he finally looks tall.
Maybe the whole point of the truck was, remember when Triple H was starting to call him the person formerly known as Big Show and Paul White and all that? Maybe he's going to come back as the Big Truck. Well, it's the Big Truck. And he's going to come down with the truck every single time.
No, he's going to be Diesel. He's going to take that gimmick over.
But they did have a stare down at the Royal Rumble. Maybe that was when he passed the gimmick on.
Maybe that would be like a WrestleMania match. We've had fake Kane against real Kane. We've had fake Undertaker against real Undertaker. Kane became fake Diesel and all that. So maybe we're going to have Big Show as fake Diesel number 2 against Kane as fake Diesel number 1, and all hell's going to break loose.
And then get Diesel into it, like the actual Diesel of Kevin Nash.
He'll tear his quad on the way to the ring.
And it could be at In Your House, Diesel powered.
That would be In Your House unleaded.
With all these bad pay-per-views we've seen, I really wish they'd bring back the In Your House format.
Oh, heck yeah, and the house stage.
Shit, yeah, I mean...
Then you don't have to go to, like, some fancy paid house when you want to do Randy Orton being thrown through a window.
I'd be fine with that being the second pay-per-view in June.
Yeah, I mean, if you just put a budget pay-per-view, and to be quite honest, I think the budget pay-per-views would sell more than the main ones do these days.
It would at least sell more than TNA. Ooh, got another shot in there.
Yeah, the only time we talk about TNA is when we're talking shit, and that's the way it should be.
Have the purchase numbers come out for the pay-per-view yet? I mean, are they not looking good?
They got
like $6.
They got $1.50. I think I got more people on our Talking Nation.
They're just like, they have some guy looking out into the crowd, and he's counting the people in the stands. He's like, all right, 1, 2.
Well, if it's anything, they beat their house show numbers, so I suppose, yay.
It's pretty bad when an episode of Raw outdraws their biggest pay-per-view of the year.
It's pretty bad when Tommy Dreamer's resurrection of ECW, like the 20th attempt of somebody resurrecting ECW, outdraws TNA's house shows in this area.
The thing is, they've got indie shows that are outselling TNA, so why don't they just go to a smaller building? Because if they go to a smaller venue, their prices are obviously going to be cheaper too, meaning more people are going to more likely show up. So,
well, it's so ballsy, like having your biggest pay-per-view year in a market that you're not normally in, too.
Yeah, they're just idiots. I mean, they really were dumb to kiss away that venue. I know everyone was telling them to go on the road, but they must have known how much it was going to cost to take it on the road. But that's enough TNA talk, right?
No Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, no showed Bound for Glory.
Yay. I mean, good.
So that's why they failed.
Norv Burnham.
There you go.
Can we talk about him for a second?
I think we can talk about him for the rest of the year.
He was the star of TNA.
Now that Kurt Angle rejected the Hall of Fame offer, they're just going to give it to Norv Burnham.
And he'll fight the Eliminator in the main event of Bound for Glory.
Oh, they're about the same weight. Geez, I don't know, guys. So what was your overall thoughts about Raw tonight? I mean, you said it was a good show at the beginning, but now after we sat here and discussed it a little bit more analytically, how you feeling now, Steven?
I'm still going to stick by my original statement. I thought Raw was enjoyable. You had, other than 2 matches, you had solid matches for All Out. I think we missed out the Wyatt family versus Miz versus Kofi, didn't we?
I didn't miss it.
No, I mean, we missed talking about it on here, but I don't know.
I don't think anybody missed us talking about it.
Okay.
I don't think we missed anything.
Well, even that was a solid TV match, so I don't think there was actual bad match on the card other than the Santino match and the Divas matches, so I enjoyed it. The segments, for the most part, were pretty solid. They just had brief moments of awkwardness, like at the end of tonight, so all in all, it was a solid show. And maybe I'm being a bit too sweet on it after seeing the fucking main event last night of Bound for Glory, so all in all, I was happy with the show.
Your high point, low point, Steven?
My high point of the show, that's the one I haven't picked. I'm going to say probably Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. It was a solid match throughout. That or Paul Heyman's. You know what? No, I'm going to give my high point tonight to Big E. I think he had a really good showing tonight, and he impressed me more than anyone, and I believe he stood out more than anyone on tonight's show. He got a big pop. So I'm glad that I think now is the right time to put the IC title on him and go forwards and stop working on making this guy a big baby face. My low point, I'm just going to say fucking Santino, Marella, the Great Khali, and Hornswoggle. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was real bad.
Tony, your overall thoughts about Raw tonight?
It was a decent show. Nothing great, nothing horrible. It's not going to make me really think that Hell in a Cell is going to be that much more fantastic than what we got for Battleground, but I would assume that it has to be, just because of how bad Battleground was. I think they could have done a lot better job selling the pay-per-view, and even though I won't necessarily give it my low point, I would think one of the lowest points of the night was the way that they ended this episode, because that was just so anticlimactic. One other low point, though, I would have to say would have to be the whole rock and roll is dead thing. I'm glad JBL said that, because that was just stupid. Maybe a middle ground point, not a low point, not a high point, would be HBK's laugh in that backstage segment where he said that he doesn't have to grow up. If you go back and watch that, he does this really odd, like kind of like
a goofy, like
right.
Exactly. He's done it before. He's done it a couple times in the past.
Cletus the slack-jawed yokel kind of laugh. But that's interesting to go back and watch that if you haven't seen it. A high point, I would say, as odd as it would be, because I could throw it for the Randy Orton Dolph Ziggler match. I could throw it for Big E Langston, but I usually try to, put something else a little bit up on a pedestal here. Either the Paul Heyman promo or, and this is a weird choice, the R-Truth segment.
Yes!
Because that was just so weird. Like, in a time period where, you end with the truck ending and it's just a very low point to end in, that was an odd high point to, boost it up and just be like, what the hell am I watching? But it was entertaining, so what the hell, I'll give them that for that.
All right, so for me, I'm going to say the high point, actually, R-Truth is one of the ones I was going to pick too, so I'm glad you said it too. I'm not the only weirdo who really enjoyed R-Truth in that role. But my other one I'm going to go with, and as great as the Paul Heyman segment was, I really think the video packages they had tonight with John Cena were some really great television. I really enjoyed what they put together there. Really touching stuff, really making John Cena seem like a contender coming back in. So kudos to their production team. Not even so much to John Cena. I mean, yeah, John Cena did a lot of work too. I shouldn't be hard on him. But, yeah. Anyway, my low point, the easy choice, and I think what I'm just going to go with, as everyone else has, is the Santino Elvis Cobra. Oh, my goodness. And I like Elvis, but what's good?
It's very rare that they have something this bad these days. I mean, we get shitty promos and shitty matches, but they haven't done something this fucking stupid in a long time. At least not to my recent memory. I don't know about you guys.
Nope. Can't think of much. I mean, I'm sure it's been there. Total Divas backstage segment comes to mind.
Yeah.
Having Raw in Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah, that was the biggest clusterfuck in pro wrestling.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up here. Steven, why don't you get your closing words and plugs out there?
As I said, I actually enjoyed Raw for a change. It's probably going to be the last time you hear it for another couple months, so take it while you can. As far as me, I've got a new job these days, so I don't know exactly what my schedule's like. I'm free tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing Unanimous Decision MMA over on Dream Elite at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be over at Keeping Kayfabe on Thursday as per usual, and I think that's all I've got planned for this week. You can follow me at Wago on Twitter or at UDMMA for all Unanimous Decision news. And check out udmma.com if you need to get any of the archived episodes and so on and so forth.
I just want to give a shout-out to Corey Krause in the chat room. High point, Paul Heyman's promo. Low point, the great Khali.
Even though he's that tall?
That still seems pretty low. Tony, your closing words.
SmarkOutMoment.com, my wrestling website. Still looking for more contributing writers, so if you're interested in covering any of the topics that are listed on the front page there, and the editorials that I have that aren't listed on the front page, but you could message me about that and I'll give you more information. Shoot me an email, we'll get to talking about that. Smack Talk is my wrestling podcast, which you can find on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as youtube.com/SmarkOutMoment. Do your searches for that and you'll find it. Twitter and Facebook for pretty much every account I'll mention here, but outonlimbs.com, fanboysanonymous.com for everything geek-related, and Bleacher Report, I've got my articles coming up on there and everything else that you can find with that. So follow all things under a mango tree by giving a search for my name.
All right, and everybody, we certainly appreciate you tuning in every Monday night here on Mega Powers Radio for our Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. We also have great programming coming for you almost every single night of the week. On Tuesday nights, we got Geek Speak, where we talk about anything that would fall under geek culture. We have Wednesday night, the Daceman Show, where he talks about sports and celebrity gossip. Thursday night is one of my other podcasts that's wrestling-related, Keeping Kayfabe, where we pick a match from the past and we go in-depth with it. This week, we're actually doing a TNA match. Oh, my goodness gracious. Kid Cash versus AJ Styles from I don't know where, some pay-per-view. Maybe you're a TNA fan, you know what it is. But more than likely, we're just going to spend a lot of time with more making fun of this past Sunday's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Friday nights, night off. Saturday nights, I Got Gameplay, where Mr. Burhan, who you heard earlier, will be hosting his video game show. And Sundays, we have specials. If it's before a pay-per-view, such as this Sunday, we're going to be doing the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view pre-show. Feels like we just did one of these. Oh, yeah, because we did. 2 pay-per-views this month. It's ridiculous. Matter of fact, there was 3 if you count Bound for Glory. What a ridiculous month.
Yeah, but no one actually paid to view it.
Nobody counts Bound for Glory, not even TNA people.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Mike Paden. For Michael Burhan, Paul Hibbard had to duck out earlier. For Stephen Wago, for Tony Mango, thank you for listening to the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. We'll see y'all next week.